Attention.
Hello Exiles, my name is Ralph, and today we're talking about trap love. No, but seriously, PoE GGG has been doing a great job with the attention for trappers, with the features and such, with the Ascendancy that we're hearing about, cluster traps, saboteur, and just today, well, yesterday, they announced the new unique trap jewels. Let's get right into them. The first one is cheap construction. 10% reduced trap duration, can have up to one additional trap placed at a time. Seems pretty broken. Seems pretty damn good. I don't know. It doesn't say limited to one. So think about things like Rain of Splinters. Rain of Splinters is that the totem jewel, which is you get 2 additional projectiles and reduced damage, but it's limited to one. This does not say limited to one. And right now on the talent tree, the passive tree, additional traps seems pretty exclusive. You can get 1 by the shadow area. You can get 2 kind of in the bottom corner. It's a little wonky. It's there for rangers, but I don't go there in my shadow. But this one is 10% reduced trap duration, and you can have 1 additional trap. And that may not seem too good. I mean, when you're AoE clearing, it's not really necessary, but it is extremely good for bosses, or things like at Siri, when you're able to pre-place the traps. If you just socket 2 of these jewels, reduce trap duration by 10%, I mean, that's not a big deal. Maybe even you combine it with Sunblast or something, get to less duration. That's going to get the more multiplier coming up. Maybe you'll just have throwing these bombs that just go off immediately. That seems pretty sick. Reduced duration doesn't even seem that bad. Just requires you to time it a little better. I mean, with certain traps, even you want duration. With Poison Trapper, I've been playing a Trapper all through Talisman, and yeah, the duration scaling with the poison is great, so you get duration anyway. So 10% reduced really isn't that bad, considering you can have 1 additional trap. So if you figure if you have a single target trap, you have 2 of these jewels, then you can place 2 additional traps on a boss. Or like on the Vols, for example, on Itsiri. Or just in general. Having additional traps is very nice. It's useful utility. I don't know. It seems inconsistent, though, with the Rain of Splinters design, and I really hope... I like this idea better. I think 10% reduced trap duration is probably too generous. Probably too generous. Don't hate me, trappers. I love traps, too. But 10% reduced trap duration with no limitation on that, just more, you can just jewel these in as much as you want, seems pretty good. Considering that Rain of Splinters has limited to 1, I like that. I don't understand. It actually makes sense for me. I think it makes more sense that Rain of Splinters would have no limitation because the penalty is harsher, and this would have a limitation because it doesn't have a harsh penalty. I like the idea that unique jewels would not have any penalties. Well, not having limitations, and then have a harsher penalty. So it's like as you put more, you get more penalty, but you decide to get the gameplay decision. So cheap construction overall, this one's good. This is a good jewel. And if you compare it to the jewels that are in the game right now, things like Rain of Splinters, it probably should have a limitation. But just being able to socket these things everywhere, whew, we have a lot of traps. One from the new Ascendancy class, from Bomb Specialist, from Saboteur. So that's 1 trap. Get another one from the tree. So then you're at 5. You can get 2 from the Ranger, then you're at 7. I think I'm missing 1 in my brain somewhere, but that's okay. And if you socket a bunch of jewels, I mean, you could have over 10 traps easily. Over 10 traps easily with that jewel. So that seems pretty ridiculous. On to the next one. Hair Trigger. 18% increased trap damage. 23% increased trap trigger radius. Now, this one seems kind of stupid. I mean, it seems bad. Not that exciting at first. But then I was thinking about it. 80% increased damage, well, that's okay, because you can roll higher percentages of damage on rare jewels, so that's like kind of okay. But then this part, 23% increased trap trigger radius, that doesn't seem good. That doesn't seem that great. It doesn't seem that useful, but it's pretty good. When mobs are running and you throw a bear trap trying to root them, or any trap trying to damage them, by the time you throw it, they're past it. If you have enough trigger radius, it hits them anyway. So if you can root them with the bear trap and then start hitting them with your other traps, that's really useful. And 23% increased trap trigger radius. Given the number 23, it's probably going to go up to 25, I'm guessing. And I think the highest skill node on the tree is 15% trigger radius. Most of them on average are like 10. So you get a little extra damage and you get this trigger radius. And again, it's limited. There's no limit on it. It's not limited to 1 or anything. Not like you'd want to stack this. But with the trigger radius, you're going to miss these traps with 25% or 23% or whatever percent. That's a lot compared to what you get elsewhere on the tree if you're already into trigger radius nodes because you're a trapper. And then you have that, all that trigger radius, you're going to be missing. You can just like AFK and throw things and you're going to hit everything. Especially, talking trap love here. We all love the traps. The new Saboteur passive, Chain Reaction. When your traps trigger, your nearby traps also trigger. And the increased area of effect of a trap's on this too. Like this node, plus if you stacked these jewels, like Hair Trigger and Cheap Construction, or anything, and then you throw a cluster trap, and then let's say you have like Ice Nova, some AoE skill. It's safe to say, because we don't know too much about cluster trap, we know it's like there's a center trap and there's traps around it randomly placed. But if you have enough trigger radius, and then your nearby traps are also triggering, it's safe to say that you're going to throw these traps in these clusters. They're all going to go off. It's just going to explode. And traps are already good with multipliers and conk effect on those AoEs. This is probably going to be pretty broken, even on single target. Because AoE overlapping, it's basically what we have instead of shotgunning now. So you can just throw these clusters and then, like, huge explosions. It's going to be... I'm excited. I really like what they're doing here with the unique jewels. The limited to 1 on the jewels, a lot of them, it's really boring. I don't know. It's not very fun. PoE, to me, is the ARPG. It's the game where here's a mechanic. I'm going to stack it. This is going to be broken. Right now, it's poison. Poison is very broken right now. If you don't have to try very hard to stack it. I don't know. So I hope they kind of retroactively change some jewels, because maybe some Rain of Splinters, if it had a less multiplier but more projectiles instead of reduced or something. I don't know, because I remember when in Awakening Beta that was so fun, but then they limited it to 1 and it kind of ruined it. Now, this last one here is pretty funny. It's also no limitation, but it's a unstable payload. 10% chance for traps to trigger an additional time. This is not that great. It's cool. With multiple traps, I guess you're going to roll the dice a lot more, and if you stack this, it could be good. But it's like, if you're going to stack unstable payload, you're just going to stack. If you have that many jewel sockets to like get this up to 50%, so let's say you have 5 jewels. I don't know. So you have 5 jewels. Why would you stack this when you could stack those other ones? When you could stack those additional traps? This is not limited to 1. I mean, this is a little sad because it's pretty much confirmation that we're never going to get that trap echo that I've always wanted. No, I'm joking, but it's cool that it 10% chance though. The funny thing, the hilarious comparison of this is the my favorite feature in the game right now, threshold jewels. Weight of the Empire, the Heavy Strike threshold jewel, gives you 4 to 12% physical damage. With at least 50 strength allocated in radius, Heavy Strike has a 10% chance to deal double damage. Double damage, trigger additional time. 50 strength, a little bit of fizz. 50 strength to allocate it. Just put it in there. The threshold and its Heavy Strike? This is just traps? Some inconsistencies here in the balance. I don't know. I know double damage is different from trigger and additional time, but I would prefer unstable payload. I'll be honest. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of threshold jewels, and I could talk about that for a whole video, but it makes Weight of the Empire look pretty silly, doesn't it? Because 50, I don't know if you guys have experimented with this, but getting 50 strength in the radius is actually not that easy, and this trap jewel doesn't require any of that. So pretty funny stuff. Pretty funny stuff. Overall, I'm really excited. I really love what they're doing for trappers, and it looks like going forward they're getting a lot of attention. R.I.P. mine, sorry. Admiral Akbar's on my side here. It's really good going forward with the Saboteur class, Cluster Trap. Things like Ice Trap, I know people think it's just like, oh, it's just another repeat of a skill. It's cool. More tools the better. I don't know. Sometimes with skills, I'm not too opposed to them just adding this stuff in. But as long as it's not like stupidly OP or anything. But having the Cluster Trap, having the Saboteur, having these awesome jewels, getting some real attention. And I played a Trapper, and like for most of Talisman I've been playing a Trapper just because I was kind of stuck in this like cast on crit builds, cast on crit builds. I was kind of stuck in that, and I kind of couldn't find a playstyle that I wanted to play. So, and I wanted to make a Trapper for a long time, and for many of you who know, Poison Trapper's pretty good right now. It's very good right now. So I decided to play that. Oh, it's so fun. It's a very, very cool playstyle. I highly, highly recommend Trappers for new players. Well, actually, I don't know. Any player, really. It's fun because you throw the trap, you run around, and you get to really observe. You get to practice mobility a lot, and you get to observe the monster mechanics. It's definitely, and if you're into that, if you're into learning, if you're kind of new, if you're kind of hesitant, they're good for that. Also, if you're like a clear speed junkie, then throw the trap, run, they'll die, don't worry about it. If you're farming bosses, like at Siri, or harder stuff like that, you lay the trap before the boss even does anything, or just in between phasing. It's so good. Traps are very versatile, very strong. I highly recommend them. You can learn a lot about the game. Plus, we're going through to Ascendancy. Azaro's got his traps, the Labyrinth's got the traps. We'll use traps to beat the traps, traps v traps. It's going to be awesome. Really good stuff. Really happy with what GG's doing with this. Hopefully, we see this sort of retroactive, because at the beginning of the post they say when we first designed Jewels, we attempted to augment as many builds as possible, but they said a few slipped through the cracks, and I think that's cool how they kind of went back and they added to it. Hopefully GG sticks to this, where they go back and they add stuff. I don't know. I love the trap builds. Highly recommend them. You guys got to try these out. These Jewels are going to be a lot of fun, and just because you're playing a Trapper doesn't mean you have to play Saboteur. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.